Okay, so in this video, I want to go over the short trade rules for the 3 keys of value direction system. This is a screenshot of a short trade that I took on the USD NOK, and these are the rules overlaid on top of the screenshot, okay? Rule number 1, in last hour before new H4 pivots plot, check H4 pivot scanner. H4 pivot scanner shows asset has broken far above H4 R3. Check weekly pivot scanner or chart to see if price is near weekly R level or weekly R midpoint level above weekly R1. Okay? You see this arrow points to price moving far above the H4 R3. Okay? This arrow is pointing to this level, which is the previous H4 R3. Rule number 2, in new current H4 period, price hits H1 R1 or higher and hits a weekly R level or weekly R midpoint level above weekly R1 and forms high of H4 period. Weekly R level is hit for the first time. Price has not already bounced down from the weekly R level. Okay? You see the arrow pointing to price moving up here in the current H4 period, okay? So this is the previous H4 period, and this is the new current H4 period, okay? And we see in the new current H4 period, price moves up and hits the H1 R1 and hits the H1 R3 and even goes further above the H1 R3. Okay? So in this case, price moved higher and hit the H1 R3. Okay? And then it also hits the weekly R1. All right? You see that here, this red level here. Price also forms the high of the current H4 period, meaning it forms the highest price point of the current H4 period, okay? So we want to take these trade setups when price is hitting the weekly R level for the first time in the weekly period, okay? We don't want to take trade scenarios where price has in the past already hit the weekly R level and then dropped down and then came back up and hit the weekly R level for a subsequent time, and then we take the trade. No, we don't want those scenarios. We only want to take the trade when price is hitting the weekly R level for the first time in that weekly period. Okay? Rule number 1 and 2 explained. According to pivot progression logic, when price is above middle pivot but below R1, it is a regular strength uptrend. When price is far above R1, it becomes an extra strength uptrend. Since price is far above H4 R3, it's an extra strength uptrend where the market is accelerating or exhausting up. And when this happens, the market is now looking for targets, or in other words, the market is entering target searching mode, okay? So when price is breaking above, far above the H4 R3, like it did in this previous H4 period, the market is entering a target searching mode, okay? The market is searching for targets, okay? Buyers are looking for targets to close their buy trades, which are sells, which moves price down, and sellers are looking for targets to enter shorts, which are also sells, which moves price down. So we have the weekly R1, a strong level regarded by financial institutions as a powerful resistance target, right here, this weekly R1, serving as one of the targets the market seeks. So you see how we use lower time frame pivot interpretations to indicate how the market, buyers and sellers, is interpreting the weekly R1 as a target for reversal. It is all about market psychology, okay? So we are using lower time frame pivots, which are the H4 pivots and the H1 pivots, to discern how the market is interpreting the weekly R pivot targets, okay? Rule number 3, price has not reached current H4R1, highest probability, or has not gone far above current H4R1, riskier, and price has not reached current H1R1 or has not gone far above current H1R1. Current H1 period opens below the weekly R pivot, okay? You see in the current H4 period, price fails to reach the H4R1, okay? That is considered a sign of uptrend weakness. Now, when price fails to reach the current H4R1, that's considered the highest probability trade because this trade has the highest win percentage, okay? And I'll explain why failure to reach the H4R1 is the highest probability in a bit. In the current H1 period, price fails to reach the current H1R1, okay? Or has not gone far above the current H1R1. So we have a failure to reach the current H1R1. That's also a sign of weakness. Rule 3 explained. In the previous H4 period, market reached far above H4R3 target, making it an extra strength type uptrend. But in the current H4 period, the market did not even reach H4R1, which now makes the market a regular strength uptrend, which is a weaker move. So market interprets this as a sign of uptrend weakness and bearish strength. Also, failure to reach or move far above current H4R1 shows a failure to reach higher prices due to perception of value being lower prices. So the market interprets that as bearish, okay? So if you look at the previous H4 period, the market moves upward and breaks far above the previous H4R3, okay? That is considered an extra strength uptrend. But in the current H4 period, the market fails to even reach the H4R1. This is a regular strength uptrend, okay? And that shows weakness because we went from an extra strength uptrend to a regular strength uptrend. And the market interprets that as weakness, okay? Also, failure to reach the H4R1 shows that the market failed to reach a price at higher prices because the H4R1 is a price at higher prices. And if the market failed to reach the H4R1, which is a price at higher prices, it is because the market's perception of value is not a price at higher prices, but the market's perception of value is a price at lower prices, and the market interprets that as bearish. In the previous H1 period, market reached far above H1R1 target, H1R3, making it an extra strength uptrend. But in the current H1 period, market did not even reach the H1R1, which now makes the market a regular strength uptrend, which is a weaker move. So market interprets this as a sign of uptrend weakness and bearish strength. Also, failure to reach or move far above current H1R1 shows a failure to reach higher prices due to perception of value being lower prices. So the market interprets that as bearish, okay? So in this previous H1 period, the market breaks far above the H1R1 and actually breaks above the H1R3, which makes the market an extra strength uptrend. But in the current H1 period, the market fails to reach the current H1R1, which makes the market a regular strength uptrend. Okay? So that is weakness, because we went from an extra strength uptrend in the previous period to a regular strength uptrend in the current period. Okay? And the market interprets that as uptrend weakness and bearish strength. And also, the market failed to reach the H1R1, which is a price at higher prices. So the market failed to reach the H1R1, which is a price at higher prices, because the market's perception of value is not a price at higher prices. The market's perception of value is a price at lower prices, and the market interprets this as bearish. So what caused all of the above mentioned to happen? What caused the perception of value to change to bearish? The answer is the market's bearish interpretation of the weekly R1. The reason why the market failed to reach the H4R1, and the reason why the market failed to reach the current H1R1, is because the market interprets the weekly R1 as bearish. And that bearish interpretation causes the market's perception of value to be a price at lower prices, which is why price moves downward. And we trade in that direction of value. We trade in that direction of the perception of value, which is a price at lower prices. So we short, okay? So here we're seeing that same core progression found in auction theory. Interpretation forms the market sentiment, which forms the perception of value. And we're trading in that direction of the perception of value, which is a price at lower prices. Okay?